Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen ARTERBURN. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
It is Steve, but Steve is with two amazing individuals that I respect and care about and believe they are full of wisdom. Dr. Alice Benton and Dr. Sherry Keffer are in the house, and we'd love for you to call us 1-800-229-3000. You can watch us on YouTube. It is the New Life Live YouTube channel there, or on the app, or on our website, newlife.com. Hi, guys. How are you today? What's going on?
Hey, great to be here.
Mm-hmm. Hi, folks.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm going to go right to the calls because there's no reason for us to wait when we've got people lined up already. And I'm going to go to Sandy from Dallas, Texas, and she listens on KWRD. Sandy, how are you? And welcome right off the bat to New Life Live. How's it going?
Thank you. How are you, sir?
Doing all right. Yep. Always good to be with Sherry and Alice. And now here we are with you. What is on your mind?
Well, I'm struggling as a mother.
Okay.
And what to and how to help my son. He's 33 years old. He's been living with me for over a year, and he is, I believe, still using drugs periodically.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I just need to know what steps to take and how to get him some help. I've tried the anger thing. I've tried kicking him out, but he has nowhere to go. I guess I'm kind of at my wit's end and done a lot of praying, crying.
All right. You know, we're doing a parenting seminar here on the 29th, and my topic is return to sender. And it's about these situations where they come home. Now, what we have to do to help someone in this situation is take apart every fatal excuse that prevents us from helping a young person. For instance, you said, I've tried kicking him out, but he has no place to go. He actually does have places to go. If you decide, and you know that he's using, if you decide, I can't have him live here anymore, it's not getting better, he will either go live with friends, or he will go to the city mission, the Salvation Army, or some other resource. But it would be really good if a guy that's using drugs isn't provided a clean bed, linens, fresh towels, great food to eat, so that he can continue to not be an adult. That's your job, is to help him be an adult. And he's not being that right now. Sherry, Alice, what are you thinking?
Sandy, you sound so alone in trying to figure this out, and I would guess that you have been parenting this young man mostly alone. Is that accurate?
Pretty much.
Your power is also limited, and when we try to deal with such a complex situation in isolation, it's very hard to implement the things you know would be good for your son. And so I want to talk with you, and I want you to consider that you need a team built up around you. You need a sisterhood around you to be able to implement what you know would better serve your son than a place in your home. And when we come back, we'll talk more about that.
All right, you're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you need some help, want to join us on the broadcast, 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back right after this.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Southern California February 11th to the 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve ARTERBURN.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Mylan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and when Alice and Sherry and I have been together, so many of these phone calls are about adult children, and I'm so glad we're doing the parenting seminar. And if you want information about that, go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's January the 29th. But go ahead, Alice. You want to finish up there?
Well, Sandy, what role does your son's father play in his life and in his addiction?
He basically has nothing to do with him. Basically, the whole family is pretty much disowned him.
And is his father in the home with you too?
No.
No, he's not. Okay. So if you haven't yet tried Al-Anon or CODA, do you know what those two things are?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
So.
Okay. Yes, there's support groups for family members of addicts, and they will teach you about implementing boundaries and about the value of drawing that firm line and allowing your son to suffer the consequences for his very choices. Because as he is overly protected from those consequences, he's not motivated enough to get the help that he needs and to change.
Sandy, what are you most
I have a real issue with trying to make him leave because he's threatened suicide in the past, and he's actually been to a hospital due to that fact. And so I've actually worked at a drug rehab, and it's really ironic because I used to see kids around his age and younger every day, or every month someone would die from overdose.
So your fears are so grounded in your experience and in your son's threats. And of course, we who are providers, we have the knowledge, but it's just as hard for us as for anybody else to use those principles we know will work.
So what your fear is then, Sandy, is that if you were to initiate your son leaving, that he would take his life because he's already been hospitalized once for suicide and he's threatened suicide again, correct?
Not recently, but...
You might need, my dear, an interventionist along with Al-Anon to help you. It's so weird how it doesn't matter how much we know. It doesn't even matter how much we've been around drug rehab, right? Those were trauma events when those kids died when you were working in the facility, and your son's own suicide attempts and using is trauma. And that can put us in a powerful, helpless place. The thing, though, that is probably the most painful is that his addiction is killing him too.
Yes.
And that his sobriety is your goal. So an interventionist, he might have to go into a 60-day program.
And that's another issue. I've tried to get him into rehab. Me and his dad, and I guess the last time we tried to do that, he refused to go that very day that his dad was going to take him.
Mm-hmm.
So that is pretty much done.
But it's not
I
done.
feel like now everybody else has dumped it right on my shoulders.
I know, and that's why I mentioned an interventionist. It's not done. And that's that fatal excuse that Steve talked about. We can feel so alone in it. But even at Al-Anon, I know if you were to start going today, have you been to a meeting or no?
I have a church group that we actually have. It's called the Overcomers Group, and we go to that.
But you know what I want you to do?
My son doesn't.
I want you to go to a good old-fashioned Al-Anon. I want you to stay with your overcomers, but you need some Navy SEALs who understand addiction. I don't want it to be softened at all in your church experience because your son needs you. He needs you desperately to be around people that have strength of steel to help you walk through this and have resources with interventionists. I've had situations where an interventionist has to help a family, and you know what? That interventionist has somebody right there that escorts that person out painfully, but escorts that person out into inpatient for addiction.
And Sandy, what both the group and the interventionist will probably help you to do is setting requirements for your son in the time he remains in your home, that he would get into therapy and he would get into group work himself, which of course he would likely reject and refuse. But as he does so, then you would act based on his decisions to protect yourself and your home, which truly is for the long-term protection of your son. And any suicidal threats, he should be alerted. You will take very seriously. You'll call an ambulance, you'll call the police, because you're going to take him at his word. And there truly is a risk of him taking his life if you start to implement boundaries. Boundaries are very risky, but the risk of him continuing deeper in his addiction and spiraling down, as Sherry said, it already is taking place. And so action will be necessary on your part to safeguard yourself and your heart and your son.
Yes, and you know, when somebody threatens suicide, we had a child that did that, and we all got in the car and took him to the psych hospital. He never threatened suicide again. I mean, if you're at a place where you're wanting to kill yourself, then you need to be under psychiatric care. And so whenever you hear the threat, it needs to be, well, wait a second, what? That's where you are? You're that desperate that you would kill yourself if you didn't have this home to live in? We need to get you into psychiatric care. But
I was going to say, Steve, and there's an illusion, and I will say this from a personal experience, there's an illusion that if our loved one who's struggling with an addiction is an addict and suicidal, there's an illusion that they won't kill themselves in our home. But that's an illusion. A lot of people who struggle with drugs die in their own family bed. And
in other words, it's not safe for them to stay at
it's
home
not safe
if they're in that place.
Yep.
But Dave, I'll send you Take Your Life Back, but Dave Stoop, who died last year, you know, the life of his son began when Dave quit doing the things, Dave said, that made Dave feel better, and started doing the things that he felt like would help his son. And that's when he filed charges, he got serious, and that's when his son got serious. And now, you know, rather than be dead at age 36 or addicted, that he's got one of the greatest sons ever. And that's what we want to see in every case. Someone is living according to some fatal excuses or fatal lies, and someone is enabling something to not get better. And threats stagnate, and Satan loves stagnation. And so what you're saying, Sherry, with the interventionist and all of us are saying is we don't give up. There is always something else that we can do. You're not the first person that's ever been in, quote unquote, the impossible situation. 1-800-229-3000. Let's go over here and talk to Walt from Durant, Oklahoma. Walt, how are you today, and how could we help?
Oh, hi. My first question. Thank you for taking my call. Are you able
Sure.
to hear me okay?
Yes, we are.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is I'm on my neighbor's house phone since my cell phone doesn't get good signal out here, and I got it on speaker and don't know how to get it off. So
That's okay. You're fine.
You're good.
Yeah.
all right. Thank you for taking my call. I've called you a few times before. I don't want to be labeled as a frequent caller, but every time I call, I really feel the Holy Spirit is dealing with me too, and you folks minister to me in more ways than you realize, not just over the phone, but with resources you've sent me over the last little over a year. And hopefully I believe you'll have an answer for this question.
Well, what's going on?
Well, let me start by quoting a scripture. I may not quote it word for word, but in the Bible it says that if you are at the altar offering your gift, and there you remember a brother has something against you, go be reconciled to that person, and then come and offer your gift. Which brings me to my question, and I'll give you a little bit of brief background. A little over 2 years ago, I had a lady friend. We're both in our 60s. Both of us are divorced with adult children, and both Christians, go to the same church, and we started dating and decided to get into a relationship. And I moved in with her. We were not sexual. Yes, we lived in the same house, but we did not have a sexual relationship. And but I had a health issue at the time with my heart, and she, with my permission, made an appointment with a cardiologist for me to go get some testing done. And the only condition was I wasn't allowed to have any caffeine for 24 hours before this test. I thought, forget that. I'm having my coffee, and I did. But I hid it from her that I was drinking. I was a closet drinker on coffee for 24 hours. And the next day, she went in with me to the doctor's office. Are you still there?
You still here? Yep.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, the next day she went in with me to the doctor's office and to get the test, and I told them truthfully I had caffeine. They said, when we say no caffeine, we mean no caffeine. We cannot do the test. We're going to have to reschedule. Boy, she got mad. She ran it. Well, I didn't run. She walked out to the car, wouldn't say a word to me the whole way home. As soon as we got home, she informed me that we were done as boyfriend and girlfriend, and I was to move out that day, which I did. She said, however, we can still be friends. We're just not going to be in a relationship. I thought, okay, fine. And
okay, so what's the question for us then? Help us. What can we do?
Okay, the question is, we did remain friends for a while, and then all of a sudden, she just completely cut me off as a friend. When I saw her in church, she would barely speak to me. Now I see her in church, she won't say a word. And I thought, what have I done to offend you? And I wrote her a letter asking her exactly what I had done. Do I need to ask forgiveness? She won't answer me at all. My question is, since I've written her that letter, have I done my part to try to reconcile, or is there something else I need to do?
Well, no, you haven't reconciled because you told us that you betrayed her trust. She was trying to help you. She set the appointment, but you didn't do your part. And you, rather than say, have I done something or what did I do, if you had said, I realize you didn't have to go with me. You didn't have to set that appointment. You didn't have to be there. And then after all that trouble you went to, it was for nothing because I wasn't upfront with you about everything. See, if that had been your position, I think you might be in a different place today. Sherry, what do you think?
Walt, I love, first off, that you're a frequent flyer through here for New Life because, this is how we grow, right? We get vulnerable, we tell our stories, and we look at areas that may be blind to us. And I think this is an area of blindness for you. I think it's a growth edge. And I love that the Holy Spirit uses us here to help. What happens to all of us? I'm no different. I think some of my closest friends, dearest colleagues, tightest confidants are the ones that help wake me up to my bad behavior. I mean, we all have it, right?
Yes.
But the thing that I'm wondering about with you, it feels like entitlement. It feels like entitlement. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do, regardless of what it does to somebody else. And that feels like there's a part of it that you justify. Kind of, we all do this when we deceive ourselves. We make up a story in our own mind about how it wasn't so bad. But like Steve said, it was a betrayal of trust. It was a lie. And if I was dating a guy and I moved in with him, and he lied to me, I would probably say no go, because I need to trust the person that I'm thinking about spending the rest of my life with. And a little lie is not a good lie.
We'll be back.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Southern California February 25th to the 27th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You are a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and talking to Walt here. And Alice, you want to finish up with Walt? Just a little bit of encouragement there, because I want things to get better for him.
It's going to be encouragement that will be a little difficult to receive, Walt, but I say it warmly. I care about you. It's hard to hear your care for her in your voice and in the way you describe what took place in the situation. It's almost as if there's a coldness or a distance in your voice. It doesn't sound like you yearn for her, you loved her, you're so sad and sorry that this relationship is over. You said, okay, fine. She kicked me out. Okay, fine. Now, I don't believe you feel that way. I hope that the relationship was more important to you than that. But it will, whether it's for this relationship or if she may not talk with you again, which would be so sad. I think it will be important for you, Walt, to learn to be able to feel your own emotions and express them and let them be part of your voice, part of your both your outside expression and your verbal expression, because I don't think she felt loved by you. And it is a skill that we have to learn, especially if our own parents were standoffish or were cold. So I hope you pursue that direction. And how we love the comfort circle, My Living K's work, is a great way to learn how to express and feel our emotions better.
So are you saying protest a little bit more when you get kicked out? Is that what you're saying there,
If you
Alice?
want the relationship to continue.
Versus just pack up and...
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know
All
what,
right.
Walt? I think I wonder a little bit about some loss of one of your parents. And I almost want to guess that there was a parent that you lost in your teenage years. And if there is, I would have you pursue that and get some healing for that. Because all behavior is purposeful. I say that from time to time, but I just am sorry about your loss of this relationship, and I hope that you'll go get the goods and do some deeper healing so that you can get free.
Did you lose somebody, a parent, Walt? Is that anything true?
Well, I'm 64 years old. Both my parents, well, they were my grandparents on my mom's side. I never knew my real parents, actually. Yeah, I lost them, and I lost my oldest daughter almost 16 months ago. She died suddenly and unexpectedly, and the marriage I had was a nightmare. I mean, my wife was more like a drill sergeant and a boss than a wife to me. And
you just haven't. Yeah, I just sense that you haven't had a lot of comfort. And how young were you when you lost your parents? Your grandparents raised you then. How young?
Yeah, well, I never knew my real dad, but I'm told by a relative back east that he died back in the 80s. I think I was just in my 20s. I was in my 40s when my grandmother, I call her Mom, when she passed away, and she was 87.
Did you ever know
like
your
I said,
mom?
My marriage was pardon?
Your birth mom.
My birth, I never knew her. I don't even.
Sweet man.
She's in her 90s, if she's still alive.
But do you see? So this is the deal. Let me just kind of give you a place to move. First off, the three of us are heartbroken right now over how much relational loss you've had, my friend.
Yeah.
You didn't have the comfort of your birth dad. You didn't have the comfort of your mother. Your birth mother. That is all rejection. And even though, and I thank God that your grandparents stepped up, right, to care for you. But that rejection goes so deep in our hearts. And that rejection, if I could soften what I said to you about entitlement, my sense was that you grew up and had to grow up really fast. You had to just make your own decisions and do things on your own. And you didn't have the comfort and love and support of birth parents that could just say, hey, Walt, you're amazing. We love you. Look how great you are. And all that is inside. All that hurts inside. And so in your mind, when you said, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, that felt like a teenage thing to me. Like, that's what teenagers do. They kind of go, it doesn't matter. I'll just be a closet coffee drinker. It's not going to kill anybody. That's like a teenager thing. But
right, yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. And I know I was wrong. You know, I could have gone without coffee for 24 hours.
I know.
And I should have been honest.
I know, but there is a deeper issue, my friend, inside that you've got a little guy inside of you that doesn't feel loved and accepted and wants nothing more than to have the comfort of a woman, the comfort of some friends, and you really don't know that people love you just because of who you are. And I just want to make sure before you chime off today that you know we love you. We see the deeper wound inside of you, my friend, and we hope that you'll continue to call because we want you whole.
All right.
Thank
Walter.
you. I love all of you, too. I really do.
We're really sorry for you here, my friend. And I'm going to, let me.
Man, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah. I'll send Healing as a Choice to you. I also am going to send you Every Man's Bible. I hope that's a comfort to you. And I'll ask everybody to pray because this could be a big deal. You take a giant step here, and it could be a giant step toward a loving and lasting relationship one of these days, real soon. Sorry for what you're going through. And just like everybody that calls, we're so honored to be able to step into your world for just a few minutes and hear what's going on and that you trust us with that. And anybody else wanting to do that, you can do it at an intensive or here on the phone with a counselor, so many different ways to open up. It's safe. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. A lot of people are in, you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, January 22nd. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie McHarris will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad you're with us here today. If you need help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and it is the same number to call if you can help us, and the one that has been involved with so many of you who help us. Larry Sonnenberg's in the studio. Larry, Happy New Year, and what do you have for us today?
Thank you. Well, I want to just encourage folks that are ready to give again, since the new year is past us, or has entered into, and we're through with the old year. Some reasons why, and one of the reasons are the workshops that we do and the life change that happens there, how God is using this ministry. So we are just about to do, in just a couple weeks now, on the 29th of January, 1-day Zoom workshop on fearless parenting, doing life with your adult kids. The things that we'll be covering in that workshop are just amazing, and as I look at it, I think I need to go redo this, do my parenting. Talks about be a student of your adult child's culture is one thing that parents need to learn.
Yeah.
And I get a little bit impatient. I like being the dinosaur the old-fashioned way, and they don't want to do it my way, then maybe we should do something different. So, I mean, there's things like that, learning how to be a single parent to an empty nest. Learning about addictions, cohabitation, mental health issues, strain from faith, those violation of values that you're likely to experience as a parent of an adult child. I mean, there's so much good stuff coming up with you, Jim Burns. What a lineup!
Yeah, and Richard Watts helping try to do the right thing with inheritance and all of that, and leaving a legacy. Wonderful.
Yeah, and so I just can't, and also if you sign up by tomorrow, you'll get a $100 discount. It's our early bird signups. So we would love for you to be a part of it. We'd love for you to support these efforts, folks. Club New Life is a great way. I know you speak to that earlier, Steve, and I just can't encourage folks enough. And thank everybody who gave us a good year end, and we need to just make it a good beginning in January.
Well, last week, Larry, I asked you about this, and I just want to repeat this. 3 years ago, our receivables were at $1.3 million. And 2 years ago,
our payables,
I'm sorry, not receivable, but we owed $1.3 million, and $1 million of that was our radio debt. And then through just amazing turn of events and generosity, those payables went to $300,000, and then we finished this past year we are 30 days current at $160,000 in payables. So that's the kind of progress that the ministry has made, because people have decided to support what we've done. And I want to tell you, a lot of the support, maybe you could even say most of the support, is from folks who have been impacted either by a radio or a workshop or a counselor. And so if you've been helped at all, please come and join the other folks that have been helped. And Steve, we'll use every dollar the best we can.
Steve, there have been several gifts where people get an inheritance or a windfall of some kind, and they remember New Life. They'll want to tithe on that. They want to help. And if that's your case, if you're going to get a tax return that's bigger than you thought, remember us. Help us. So thank you.
You don't have to wait to the end of the year. That's the main thing. But thanks to everybody who has supported us. If you're going to be part of the giving family, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We would love to help you, and we'd love you to help us to help others, even you. Let's go to Debbie from Boston, Massachusetts. WEZE is the station. Hi, Debbie. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. And thanks for taking my call. I'm hoping that my connection is good. It feels so good at my side. I'm hoping that you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you clearly.
Thank you. And Happy New Year to New Life. And I wish your program, everything that God has in store, happiness, healthy, and prosperous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a blessing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How could we help?
Thank you. So this is actually my second call, but my first time getting through. So I thank God for that. I tried a couple of days ago, and Diane was very sweet to help me out today. So I'm glad that I am able to.
Well, Diane's very sweet. So I'm glad you got through.
Thank you. And my question has to do with my adult son. He's 24, and the story is very long. I'm going to make it very short as much as I can. It's going to about 3 to 4 years now, where he has developed some sort of psychosis, and we tried to get him help, but that has been a very tough deal because of him believing that he is okay, and we are learning in terms of the condition, because initially we didn't know what it was at all, but he actually got worse. He was displaying actions that weren't really making sense, and he traveled a lot before coming back home. So he's a person, he's very, success driven, and he did a lot of traveling, but because of this, he's now at home with us. And as a family, we try to get him help.
What's one of the symptoms that you've seen that makes you think it's a psychiatric disorder?
Well, for one, he's in his room all day. There's a time he used to go around and pee in a box or pee at the windowsill of other people's apartment. So things like that. Something is going on. He tends to walk the street. He's not doing that right now, but he will walk the street up and down, no matter what the time of night was. And he will get out of the room about 20 times for the day, back and forth.
Okay. So what's the question for us then? What do you need from us?
So the question is, we have tried to get him help, which he doesn't believe that he needs, but we clearly see that he needs the help. We don't want to have to use force. That's the thing. So we're like between a rock and a hard place. How would you? I don't know if you ever had a situation like that where someone has a loved one who is towards schizophrenia, but they do not want to get help because they don't believe that anything is wrong with them, is wrong with everyone else.
Yes,
and
but here's the thing.
Use force. You don't get the police in.
But here's the thing. You may have to have him admitted, and that may require a forcible admission. So the very thing you're saying you don't want to do could be the thing that's preventing him from getting better.
My only fear is just that sometimes, you call the police and it doesn't go down the way that you
not the
expect.
police.
That's just my fear, my personal fear.
But not the police.
There's a psychiatric emergency team, a PET team. And if you call your local emergency number, but you ask for that psychiatric intervention team, you might get police officers as well, but those who are trained in dealing with someone with a more significant disorder, like your son. Because he has been urinating in strange places, he's exposing himself. And the risk of a sexual harassment suit or the risk of a child seeing is growing, is increasing. Even though he's been better lately, if this is schizophrenia, it tends to worsen over time if there is no treatment for it. I do wonder, we've actually discussed on the air before, sometimes bribery works. Sometimes offering to pay our adult child if they will go to see a psychiatrist and if they will submit to an extended release injection medication, if this is truly his diagnosis. Some young people will respond to that and will accept money to comply.
Yep. But go ahead, Sherry.
I want to ask one thing just to rule something out. Debbie, I know he's living with you. Are there any drugs? Is he using marijuana at all?
Not currently. He was at some point, but currently he's not.
When you say at some point, how long has it been since he's used?
It has been maybe a year now. He hasn't touched anything.
And
like
has some of these behaviors happened after he stopped using marijuana? Or were they happening during? I know we're coming to a break, but I want to identify clearly if these behaviors got worse when he was using marijuana.
His behavior was more erratic. Right now it is not. It's just that he's more in his room. Right now he doesn't eat on a regular basis. He's losing weight right in front of us. So.
Okay, we're going to take a break and we'll give you some help right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve ARTERBURN, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly. and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back dealing with one of these really tough situations. And by the way, our parenting seminar, these are the kind of things we're dealing with because we're talking about adult children. And Sherry, you want to continue? You're talking about drug use in addition to the psychiatric things that are going on.
Yeah. The reason, let me just quickly say, I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Daniel Amen at Amen Clinics for about 5 years. I learned so much there, Debbie. And I had cases where people came in the door, they had been using marijuana, and they went into a marijuana-induced psychotic state. And it looks very much like schizophrenia. So I just wanted to peel that off, right? Because this is around the age that men usually become schizophrenic, is usually around the early 20s if it's going to be there. But you want to rule that in or rule that out. One of the things that I've learned over time, and it might be something that you want to take a look at Dr. Amen's book, The End of Mental Illness, because I've seen people like your son go in, have the SPECT scan done, and a schizophrenic brain is a brain that's not getting enough blood flow. There aren't the connections that you and I have. And that's why there's all these confusing behaviors and missteps. Drugs do the same thing to brains, just, so that's why it's important to know if he's sober or not. But when they give a medication, and I'm not saying this is the one for him, but risperidone, I have seen sons like yours under that type of medical intervention actually come back to life. They come back to being themselves. It's like the son you used to know, it's really a brain issue. It's not his heart. It's not his history. It's that his brain isn't getting the right medication, and that medication for him is a must-have. If this truly is schizophrenia, he'll never come out of it without having that.
Well, the good news is that the medicines for this have developed so much that many times a person will do better schizophrenic and on the right medication than a person bipolar disorder or something. I mean, you really can live a great life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's treatable. And so I hope and pray you'll join us. In fact, once again, I'm going to give you a scholarship to our parenting seminar if you'll join us on the 29th. We're going to be dealing with issues like this. I just hope and pray that you will take the risk. Maybe it's the bribe Alice is talking about. If not that, maybe you have to bring in a little bit of force from the PET team, the emergency psych team, but that you won't just do nothing. And if you could get him to Dr. Amen's clinic, I think that would be an amazing thing also. Well, I think we've got time for one more call here. Let's try to just squeeze in here. Don't have a lot of time, but B, wanted to get to your call. How could we help today?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you and happy New Year. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Honestly, I've been going through a lot, and to make this story short, I have my son that's almost 30, he'll be 30 this year, that has been self-medicating for the last decade. His father and I got divorced when he was 2.5. He is a very controlling and ex-military person, which my son and him collide a lot, and so did me and him. So that's one issue. But also my new husband, which we've been married now for 20 years, there's also a problem. He's a stepfather, and we never were able to have kids. So he has anger issues. Also, he's very jealous of my son, probably because we were not able to have kids. And my son now have been, there's times they've been having blowouts, but the blowouts happen when I'm not at home. My husband tends to say, according to what my son has told me a few times, that he acts differently when I'm not around and accuses them and actually belittles them. So
I hate to interrupt. Tell us, what is the question, because we're just about out of time.
Okay, I need to know what type of resources or where I can go to get help, because this is taking a toll on me. I'm not working. There's a disconnect between my son and I, and then with his substance abuse, I need to get him help, and also for myself to help him, and also help myself too, because this is too much already.
Okay.
So you have an active addict living in your home with your second husband. And how long has he been? How long has he been living in the home with his addiction?
This started right after college, so we're talking about almost 10 years.
Okay.
And
so your husband is frustrated.
Yeah, he's frustrated, but I'm also dealing with my husband that is a closet drinker.
Okay, so you're living with two addicts.
Yes.
And how many Al-Anon meetings? How many Al-Anon meetings have you been to?
None.
Okay.
Oh,
so
sweetheart.
That's the
heard
first
it.
thing.
I need to find one in my area where there's one.
Yeah. So that'd be helpful. What else do you guys think she could do to be helpful?
B, I'm going to gently point out that I think you are understandably overprotective of your son, and you minimize his addictive behavior, and I think you justify his angry outbursts because your husband is angry. And so, as you go to Al-Anon, and I know you will, I believe you will, I want you to work on that minimization that you have to be able to call his problem what it is, an addiction rather than self-medicating. And he's an angry boy, and he's a young man, and he's angry and disrespectful to your husband. You're going to have to look at that full on to be able to take the necessary action to help him get the help he needs.
And B, I would add to what Alice and Steve has already said. I want you to stay on the line because we need to get you in to see one of our new life counselors. You're going to need somebody to help be your quarterback in this. Having two addicts, it's really easy to try to get caught up in trying to fix the unfixable. And you're going to need a quarterback to help you come up with a game plan for intervention.
Okay.
Yeah. Today is the day, girl. 2022 is the day to change what you haven't been able to change for a decade.
Everything can be different.
Yep.
So as we close out this program, we have done 2 programs back to back. I think we've probably taken 9 calls, and I think at least 7 have been adult children phone calls. And so I just want to encourage the rest of you who haven't called, who have this problem. January the 29th, we're doing this Fearless Parenting Intensive. It's a 1-day, it's online, and I think we're going to have some answers that you're not going to find other places. And you just have to call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and sign up and come be there. It's where you need to be. I can't think of anything more important than this workshop designed specifically for you and those adult kids.
And Steve, there is not another workshop in the country, maybe even in the world, on how to parent adult children. There's not.
Yeah.
It's such a huge need, and I love that New Life has just stepped in and said, we're going to do it. So don't miss it. Join it. Be there.
2 words on how to parent the adult children. Very careful. All right. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Call us.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.